Hi, I'm Matt Diaz from MCH, and you're watching the ESP Highlight Reel. Today we're going to talk about the importance of providing funding for the Emergency Services Program, but first we should take a second and talk about what that means. The Emergency Services Program allows organizations and local communities to meet the needs of people experiencing homelessness by providing funding that supports the operations, staffing, and resources to support families, individuals, and seniors. MCH is supporting this because we know that additional funding to ESP will have an impact statewide and empower communities to find creative, flexible solutions that address homelessness. And with that, I'm going to hand it off to the people that know best. Let's hear from some advocates, organizers, and service providers.
When I was pregnant, I was homeless, and there was a very long waiting list to get in, and it was very miserable being pregnant and living out of multiple places, beds, garages. They taught me places where I could get a meal, and there was food donations, and they helped me get financial help, SNAP, food assistance, Social Security card, and birth certificate, because you can't get a job unless you have that stuff. When you're homeless, you drop off the map. You're nobody. I didn't know how to do any of that paperwork. It's very overwhelming. They helped me get a social worker. I couldn't have did it by myself.
From my experience being homeless, it was hard. It's hard to be out on the street and not knowing where you're going to go from one night to the next or one day to the next. I think I walked the streets of Bemidji every day, back and forth, not knowing what to do. And it was hard. Being able to have them here to help me to do the applications and send them in and, and not having to worry about that part, not knowing where to take them, not having a ride, not having no transportation. That's another thing, You really got to have a lot. And they helped with the transportation part and going to Section 8 and stuff. So yeah, they're a big help. It was a big help.
Well, I had stayed at Tent City for about 6 months. I was at Powderhorn Park, and it was rough. It was rough. I mean, it was in the summer. It was hot. It was, showering. The crime was high. During that time, towards the end, when they came in, I lost my dog, she was 14 years old, and they came in, they bulldozed everything over. We had nothing. It was just a blessing that the people who came and walked around, they took our names for this place. They gave us a call, and we were able to come here. I have gotten my ID. They have been able to provide me with vouchers so I can get my ID. I've gotten my birth certificate, my Social Security card, which were all steps that I needed before I can get into housing. They did a housing application. So now I'm working on getting on GRH and things like that. And it's all a process. It all takes time. They always are checking in on you. You see them in the halls, and they say hi and things like that. If I'm any type of mental problem, if I'm struggling with anything, they're there. So if I ever have any questions or anything, I'm like, how do I do this? Whatever. They're there with resources.
The resources question is really a tough one, because we know we need money. We know we need to open shelters. We know we need to pay staff a livable wage, and we need to provide the basic needs and amenities that human beings in this country hope to have. Not just a bed, but Wi-Fi and computers for online searches, for job applications, for housing applications. Those are not privileged items anymore. They're necessities of life.
Resources are, again, kind of not just central to one area, but if we can think around resources around mental health and wellness, education, or a way to kind of provide support and funding or services that kind of are general operating funds to ensure that our young people have our arms are wrapped around them in multiple ways. Provides us the beauty of reaching them in ways that maybe they've never felt before. We have young people come through our door and say, you know what? It's so nice that there was no expectation, no judgment. You just sat with me and you cared and loved me. And that provided them the kind of motivation or kind of support they needed to kind of figure out what they needed, what was next. So whether it's housing, whether it's going into treatment or a treatment facility, we were able to kind of provide them that support or warm handoff to our community partners And then they stay connected with us for years to come, like years, 2, 4, 6+ years.
A lot of times our street outreach team is one of the first interventions that folks who are new to homelessness experience. Right now, because of the size of our team, we are having to prioritize who is able to be served because we don't have the capacity and the staff to serve everybody. So with continued or new investment in street outreach services, we would add staff that will then be able to make some of those connections.
But many times we think they're homeless. What is their need? They need house. It actually isn't always true. Sometimes they maybe need a treatment facility. Maybe they need mental health services. Maybe they need help fleeing from domestic violence. A house or their own apartment is not the answer for everybody. And some of them need services to be successful. Some of them, if we just put them in their own apartment and help with their deposit, they're going to be homeless in 2 or 3 months because they don't have the skills they need to self-sustain. And so it allows us, our case managers time to kind of weed through that, saying, how can we provide service to get them on the right track, long-term stability for this individual or this family?